of a global elite organizing the planet under the fraud of fake environmentalism to take your basic rights, your liberty, your property. And we played that clip yesterday of Australia where they're just grabbing all the farmers' land, literally in some areas all of it, and just saying it's off limits for carbon credits. You can't run cattle or sheep on your own land anymore. This is really happening, and it's happening here, and we've got to stop these people. When we got the SPP documents a few years ago from the North American Union meetings, it was the corporate leaders there running the government meetings with the bureaucracy saying, we're going to tax and pay ourselves the carbon tax. The good news is this is in trouble. George Hunt, are you not excited to see Copenhagen exposed? And you were talking about this 22 years ago, and people, some of them were laughing at you. Now it's all out in the open. Is that exciting you, George Hunt?
Oh, it's exciting me so much. My name is George Washington Hunt, and I was born on Columbus Day. And I think that I have a mission to defeat these people, to help defeat these people. I had, when I was on the Jesse Ventura show, I said to the camera, I think they're going to win it. And the reason was that they're smarter than us. But if you take our combined intelligence, like I'm hearing coming out of you and you're hearing come out of me, we can whip these guys. We can get the Americans to cooperate.
Americans and others around the world just have to face their own documents, their own statements. I mean, in fact, I'll grab it. It's over here. I talk about this book every week on air, Eco-Science. I've scanned through the whole 1,100 pages, or whatever it is. Let me see how long it is. Yeah, the 1,100 pages. I've scanned through this, and it openly says poison the water supply, sterilize us, cut off our resources, bankrupt us. This is the White House science czar, John P. Holdren, wrote Eco-Science. I mean, there are literally thousands of white papers, books, publications where they openly state what they're openly doing. And now this guy gives press conferences, the White House science czar, saying they've got a secret program already manipulating the weather.
That's right. They've already they dreamed up these plans as far as hundreds of years ago, and the contemporary plans that we see where the banks are going down and so on is part of their plan that was conceived as far as I can see 100 years ago.
Okay, I want to go to calls, but first I want to play a few global governance clips saying that the UN global carbon tax is the heart of world government. The head of the EU, we have Gordon Brown calling for global governance. We have David Rothschild, the heir to this whole criminal fortune, calling for it. Here is David Rothschild from Copenhagen on Bloomberg TV.
It's past the point of talking. We know historically that the global governance the sort of agenda to these issues is very hard to try and is with all the best intentions, it's very hard to actually activate. We're seeing that right now. We're seeing a lot of fragmentation going on in Copenhagen, a lot of different agendas pulling in different directions. And I think what we really need to see is people on the ground starting to actually act upon the low-hanging fruit and start to try and move on the solutions that we have at hand.
In case you missed it, global governance.
It's past the point of talking. We know historically that the global governance the sort of agenda to these issues is very hard to try and is with all the best.
So there he is saying the time for talk is over. That means you don't get any input. We're doing this. Well, we did get input. We did expose their fraud. They're in trouble. George Hunt.
Well, this whole global carbon tax thing that's going on, I have to admit that I don't really understand it, but I do know that the House of Rothschild pushed it through the chairman of the House of Rothschild at a meeting of the London banks. That happened about 6 months ago when I picked up on that clip. This carbon tax, what do you know about it, Alex?
Well, it's fully meant to tax and control all human activity, to be selectively enforced, just like the health care plan. Some unions don't have to do it, but the rest of the public do. It's all selectively enforced. Like Obama decided what car dealerships stayed open, what didn't. $3 billion of the $25 billion for the auto bailout paid to move factories on record, this is Associated Press, to Brazil, Eastern Europe, Russia, and China. So the globalists literally pay to have factories built for themselves. As Maurice Strong said on TV in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro as the head of the UN summit, it is our job to destroy industrial society in the West. Let's play this clip of Herman Van Rompuy in his acceptance speech as the new head of the EU calling for global governance.
2009 is also the first year of global governance with the establishment of the G20 in the middle of the financial crisis. The climate conference in Copenhagen is another step towards the global management of our planet. Our mission, our presidency, is one of hope, supported by acts and by deeds.
Okay. Again, there's Herman Van Rompuy. We have Ban Ki-moon, Gordon Brown. Why are they coming out in the open now? Because we're approaching the 2011-12, which all the economists here say they believe is the time that everything's going to collapse. Are they getting us ready for global government?
Oh, yes. They're getting us ready for global government, even in the schools, intermediate schools, colleges. People are all whistling global government. It has infected our society already. They'll attract the people through the religious aspects of the government, through the promise of being able to buy or sell if you cooperated with the global government. If you don't cooperate, you won't be able to buy or sell. That's been prophesied in the Bible, and I think that we're headed for that very soon when we have only one bank.
And they're openly saying that's their program. This global private banking government will decide if you can have a business, if you can have a factory, if you can have a job, if you can have your farm you own. I mean, this is really happening with the animal ID, the premises ID, all of it. That's why it's so...
Yes, sir. In the Copenhagen 15, the Echo 15, whatever it was called at Copenhagen, if we had gone to the line and signed that document, we would have been giving away our rights to how much hot water we can use per day, what kind of car we'll drive. We would have made ourselves as the same common person in the world. And here we are, a blessed country, and we give it all up through Copenhagen 15.
It's not enough for these bankers to rob and loot and run their scams. They want to shut off our resources to make us completely dependent on them. We're going to calls now. I want to encourage everybody to go to thebigbank.com, thebigbadbank.com. We have links to it up on infowars.com, thebigbadbank.com, and to get your video and book, both titled The Big Bad Bank. Also, while you're at it, folks, Follow the Republic. It details who the bankers are, how they're imploding the economy by design, their own statements, their own documents, how they're using the environmental movement, the police state they're setting up to enforce it. In-game blueprint for global enslavement covers the depopulation, their entire program. Everyone must see this. This is real. They're doing it. You ask, what is the solution? Education. Show the people that environmentalism has nothing to do with the environment. They co-opt all these good people to serve them. This is their takeover, and it's in trouble, but they've invested hundreds of billions conservatively in this propaganda. They're moving forward with it, but they're beginning to slow. If you take action and educate everyone you know, we can stop these people. So get the films at Infowars.com or watch them in high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv. The Club of Rome said in 91 that they will use on the left phony environmentalism, on the right stage terror. We have those quotes. They published them. We have them in articles that Paul Watson's written with direct links. They said they will use that pincer to capture us. On the right, they'll use security and terror. On the left, the environment.